26 Hardest Truths to Accept, according to Reddit. Number 26. That relationships are not special as some believe them to be, and they don't necessarily have to last forever just because you have found yourself in the right place at the right time once and choose to be with each other and decided to create the one out of them. It is a truth that is easy to understand, but hard to accept. So I'm just going to post this here. An excerpt follows. A lot of people ask me what my biggest fear is, or what scares me most. And I know they expect an answer like heights or closed spaces, people dressed like animals, but how do I tell them when I was 17, I took a class called Relationships for Life, and I learned that most people fall out of love for the same reason that they fall into it. That their lover's once endearing stubbornness has now become refusal to compromise, and their one-tracked mind is now immaturity, and their bad habits that you once adored is now money down the drain. Their spontaneity becomes reckless and irresponsible, and their feet up on your dash is no longer sexy, just another distraction in your busy life. Nothing saddens and scares me like the thought that I can be ugly to someone who once thought all the stars were in my eyes. A response from the original author reads, I never expected this to be my most popular poem out of the hundreds that I've written. I was extremely bitter and sad when I wrote this, and I left out of the most beautiful part of that class. After my teacher introduced us to this theory, she asked us, is love a feeling? Or is it a choice? We were all a bunch of teenagers. Naturally, we said it was a feeling. She said, if we clung to that belief, we'd never have a lasting relationship of any sort. She made us interview a dozen adults who were or had been married, and we asked them about their marriages and why it lasted or why it failed. At the end, I asked every single person if love was an emotion or a choice. Everybody said that it was a choice. It was a conscious commitment. It was something you choose to make work every day with a person who has chosen the same thing. They all said that at one point in their marriage, the feeling of love had vanished and or faded, and they weren't happy. They said the feelings are always changing, and you cannot build something that will last on such a shaky foundation. The married one said that when things were bad, they chose to open the communication, chose to identify what broke and how to fix it, and chose to recreate something worth falling in love with. The divorced one said that they chose to walk away. Ever since that class, since the project, I never looked at relationships the same way. I understand why arranged marriages were so successful. I discovered the difference in feelings and commitments. I've never gone for the person who makes my heart flutter or my head spin. I've chosen the people who were committed to choosing me, dedicated to finding something to adore even on the ugliest of days. I no longer fear the day someone who swore I was their universe can no longer see the stars in my eyes, as long as they still choose to look until they find them again. Incredibly grounded philosophies here. Incredibly grounded. Again, who you are when you meet another person is subject to change. Who you are and who they are when you two meet each other is subject to change. The likelihood that they'll change into somebody that you like is slim. The likelihood that you will change into somebody that they like is slim. The likelihood that both of you will change into somebody that either person still likes is outrageously slim. And that's just the way that the world goes. So there's that. Number 26. Number 25. That I wasn't the right person to look after my daughter. Ooh, heavy. I was severely mentally ill at the time, and her dad ended up in prison. Having to admit that was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I just want what's best for her. I had to fight to get her placed with Versus was a criminally underrated TV. I'm sorry. a narration that I had for another project was in the playlist of the, you know. So yeah, I've read a project for another YouTuber called Bedhead Bernie. I'll post a link when he's ready with that, I suppose. Sorry to get back into this. Having to admit that, I wasn't the right person to look after my daughter was the hardest thing that I've ever done. But I just wanted to, have what was best for her. I had to fight to get her placed with her grandparents who wanted to look after her rather than being adopted by a stranger. But she's doing really well now, and I get to see her occasionally, and we talk frequently online. It's also interesting to see how much we're alike, even though she's not lived with me since she was 3. Hats off to you for making the most loving choice, says a responder. A very wholesome list I'm sure this will be building up to be, even if things are rocky. It'll have a happy ending. Number 24. That looks matter for just about every situation. This is something that we all gotta deal with, Just like, unfortunately, in most scenarios, gender is gonna matter, skin color is gonna matter. Looks matter, homie. Are you fat and unattractive by most people's standards? Then it's not gonna be as easy as it might for other people in situations like that. So if you're trying to work on your appearance the way that I am, I wish you the best. Somebody says personality matters, but looks matter first. It's true, unfortunately. Hardest truths to accept. Number 23. My mom is going to be an alcoholic for the rest of her life. I honestly believe the only way for her to get clean would be an extended stay at the top-tier rehab facility followed by a complete lifestyle change, including new hobbies and ongoing therapy to treat underlying causes, social anxiety and unresolved childhood issues. The likelihood of this happening is 0. That sucks. Somebody else says, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm a recovered alcoholic, 5 years clean. Your mom doesn't need a top-tier rehab facility. She just needs to really want to change her life. I went to a no-frills university treatment center in my hometown, and I've seen lots of folks succeed and fail. The most important key to recovery is that you have to be all in. If you can't imagine a better life for yourself in sobriety, you probably won't stop. In my case, I saw a few folks speak at a double Alcoholics Anonymous style meeting during my rehabilitation. There was one guy about my age who showed up on his bike. He looked healthy and happy. I thought to myself, I want that, and figured that sobriety would help me to achieve the best version of myself. Maybe your mom could start by going to a couple of meetings. Maybe she'll see a woman who will inspire her. And remember, it's not your job to get sober. It's not your job to get her sober. Very correct. You didn't cause this and you can't cure it. You can get away from this situation and live your own life, though. This is not your problem, so don't bend over backwards trying to fix it. All the best to your family. Very, very good advice, in my opinion, Sometimes, people have gotten themselves where they've gotten, and you kind of screwing yourself up to try and, do something that A, they won't appreciate, and B, in many cases, won't solve any of what's going on for them is not the way to go. But obviously it is not something that applies to every situation, because how can anything apply to every situation, I apologize for what's seeming like me coming at this with like a little more serious of a tone, but I don't know. I guess I could throw... I'm sorry, maybe it's the way that I feel. I want to change myself too. Just replace alcoholic with fatty, patty, fat man. You fat, you piggly wiggly monkey, you cow eating, talking about moo, baby. You want some fries with those burgers? So I need to, I don't know if I need to hop on a bike. I need to just get out and start running more. Need to definitely do some cardio and get rid of this floppy whoppy, you know what I mean? There's a big gut here. Number 22. My dad died when I was a teenager. You think you're reading that a little bit chipper, Kyle? My dad died when I was a teenager. Come on, I don't know, man. Yeah, but if I do it the other way, then it's too sad. Let's try it again. My dad died. You're such a fucking melodramatic. My dad died when I was a teenager, and my mom in my early 20s. Lucky. I'm kidding. No, Kyle, you can't say shit like that. People are listening to you. My dad died when I was a teenager and my mom in my early 20s. I'll never be able to talk to them again. I'll never be able to ask my mom to teach me to cook like her or ask them any of the hundreds of questions I have for them. I'm sorry. Oh God, forgive me. Why am I yawning in the middle of this? Accepting that they are gone forever was hard. Be good to your parents, people. Some parents need to learn how to be good to other people, nigga. Like, honestly. Anyway, in response, this is mine too. My dad died of lymphoma when I was 10, and my mom died of a brain tumor 2 years ago. The part that hit the most was the knowledge that no one on this earth, not even my very loving husband, will ever be as non-conditionally supportive and loving as my mom was. I had that and I'll never have it again, and I took it for granted. From here on out, all love and support that's directed toward me will be conditional on something. That's such a harsh truth to face. The day she died, my world lost so much light. That's a scary truth, isn't it, huh? You know? Some people, they're all about you because they're with you, but if they weren't, hey, that shit's gone, you know what I mean? Some friends, they're all about you because you're friends, and you could do something that can end that friendship, you know what I'm talking about? But like, hey man, the love of like a parent, holy monkey balls. The love of a good parent, maybe? Like a good mama. State Farm is there. Is that the kind of humor people are looking for? God, you're not funny, Kyle. Why don't you fucking kill yourself? Hey, look, 21, just like the day that it will be tomorrow when it'll be my birthday. Happy birthday to... Number 21, that I'll never know what a day without back pain feels like. You got big titties, don't you? No. They deleted the comments, I fucking know it. Somebody said, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing. I don't know if that's like somebody being an asshole. Oh no, that's a response to this. Okay, so look, that I'll never know what a day without back pain feels like. Here's the response to that comment. I was born with too many nerve endings in my vulva. I would Google that, but something telling me not to on this video. Causing lifelong discomfort in my genital area. You're an adult, Kyle. Never experienced, this isn't funny, I'm sorry. Never experienced sex without pain. That sucks. At 24 years old, then, somehow, some doctor learned about this, perfected a surgical technique to remove the offensive tissue, and I was able to pee without burning for the first time in 3 years in April 2014. If I was born half a generation earlier, the doctor would not have been around to help me. This thought can still bring me to tears. How many women in history could this man have helped? I would have probably eventually killed myself for being a failed sexual partner and for being in constant pain every day, doing normal bodily functions, or even wearing underwear and jeans. Have hope. Modern medicine is incredible. Neuroscience is young and booming. Pain is one of the least understood phenomenon, but there are many who are devoted to trying to help those that suffer. Also, medical marijuana is available. The stuff is definitely worth trying for chronic pain. It's so fucking disgusting that marijuana is not available legally for even recreational use, because some people will never get their hands on it, even if it is medical, and they need that shit, not just for pain, but to like calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? They could be living lives that make some sense, but the government is what the government is. Another thing that sucks is, and man, this is gonna sound so fucking misogynistic, but and this is something that a lot of women do, okay, is they often think of how things might be if they weren't the way that they are now, or didn't go the way that they've gone now, and then get really upset about something that's hypothetical. I'm not saying only women do it, I'm saying that often women do it. And if you're not on the same page as me, allow me to provide you with a analogy or an example. Imagine you're with a girl and the girl just starts crying one day. And you ask her what's wrong, and she says something like, I almost wasn't even going to be in the class that I was in or at the store that I was in when we first met and we first started talking. What if I didn't go? What if we never started talking? Thinking about it really scares me, blah, 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 blah. In the same way that this girl is like, yeah, she lived her life in pain and it sucks. And she's forced to think of other people who were in pain that didn't have access to this kind of stuff and like is, brought down by it. I'll tell you one thing. This is probably like a pretty intimate thing that I'm sharing is, one of the times that I had my freedom taken away from me for something that I didn't do, and I was sitting in a prison cell, I was thinking to myself, I'm a big boy. I can take this kind of shit, right? Not the end of the world. But how many other people had fallen through the cracks? You know what I mean? How many other people maybe had taken their freedom, had their freedom robbed of them for something that they didn't do? They were doing time, right? For something that they didn't fucking do, whether they were wrongly accused by whoever, whether the police planted some shit on them, whether they pissed somebody off and they just threw them in there, you know what I'm talking about? Doesn't really matter why. Just thinking about other people that really hadn't done anything, that maybe even had their lives stripped from them for a belief, that was true, that other people didn't agree with. If you sit and think about this shit, it'll make you fucking crazy. Do you understand me? So as crazy as it sounds, guys, you just gotta focus on you. And naturally, no, I am not throwing a blanket over and saying you should never think about other people. But hey, man, everything in moderation. Everything. If you allow yourself to go too crazy off any end, it will make you nuts. Just like some people are going nuts right now because I'm going on and on when they just want me to be reading this stupid list. God forbid I talk about a little bit of something that's pertinent information to this on the day before my birthday. You got a problem with it? I want to hear about the problem you have with it in the comment section right now, you fucking bitch. I love you. Number 20, that I had really messed up a relationship with somebody that I genuinely cared about, and there was nothing that I could do to fix that. I've done a lot of reflecting since. Okay, very cool. Quick reminder, we are on the list about the hardest truths to accept. And this person is basically accepting that they were the issue in this relationship. They're the one who fucked things up, and they're forced to reflect. It's very good because, some people live their lives thinking that they don't want to right and everybody else is wrong. Some people die swearing that everybody else was the problem. It's pretty hilarious, really. Somebody else responds, "Same here. I cared for her so much, but she ended up leaving me for another guy. We broke up in August of last year, and we both still talk to each other." What? And we both still talk to each other today? Ugh. But it's not the same. She isn't the lively person she used to be. She doesn't laugh or joke with me anymore. She ain't your bitch. Everything is basically non-existent. I don't want to talk to her because of how much emotional pain she's making me go through, which isn't her fault, but I can't last for longer than a day. When I confront her about the pain I'm going through and that the best option for me is to leave once and for all, she doesn't agree and will not let me leave no matter what I do? Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? Get this bitch out of your life. Are you fucking crazy? Edit. Wow, everybody. I have to leave after I made a comment and I came back to a blown up inbox, so many replies. Somebody said, "Bro, I went through everything the same thing very recently. I really advise that you leave and do not let her come back. And don't say she won't let you leave because that is your decision to make." Grow the fuck up, you children. Ugh. Number 19. And this is the bottom of this list. So help me God if I get triggered as we travel the hell up here. Number 19. That you don't have to love your family. Well, yeah. Sometimes blood doesn't mean family. After years of abuse, my father and his immediate family, I finally cut all of them out of my life 5 years ago. The amount of peace I felt immediately after was shocking. The word is called relief, and it's fucking horrifying. It's fucking horrifying that some people don't realize that, the problems in their life, were they to cut them out, would just overwhelm them in a sea. of relief. I never realized how much I hated them because I never wanted to admit that I hated my family that much. You're not supposed to hate your family. You're supposed to be loyal to them, love them unconditionally, yada yada fucking yada. Once I accepted that my family can be just as toxic as anyone else in your life, I felt free. That's the bottom line. Somebody else said, good for you. It takes a lot of guts. You're a brave soul to stand up in the face of dysfunction. I'm currently facing the same and choosing to be homeless instead of living with it and letting it consume me. Cheers. Well, there's that. Number 18. She's not coming back. Hard truth to accept, guys. She ain't coming back. Alternatively, that when she came back a year later, I didn't want her back. It tore me apart. That I turned her down. Have no idea where I found that degree of self-respect. Props, bruh. Why y'all waiting for her to come back? You know what I mean? Is it raining? Sorry, I just heard interesting noises outside, as well as the owls that won't shut the hell up. Hope that's not making the recording. Number 17, that you're the only one who can stand up for yourself. Never expect anyone else to do it. You gotta get a backbone sometimes, guys. You know, I know, especially for women, and this is gonna sound so rude. What, maybe gay men? Should I start saying gay men as well? Everybody talking about how I'm a misogynist. Look, I've dealt with so many fucking women in my life that it would make your goddamn head spin. And now, no, that doesn't mean that you are just like all the other women that I've dealt with. It means that there is a criteria for basic women. And if you don't agree with that, then your experience is incomplete. Maybe you need to learn by getting yourself some more. If you're the type of chick that's just like, oh, that's so fucking rude, you can't make blanket statements like that, you're probably hanging out with other bitches like you. You know what I'm saying? You're not hanging out with basic chicks. You're not hanging out with what would be the type of girl that's like, I don't know, man. Well, yeah, you enjoying Vines, and you're watching How I Met Your Mother, and you're going to a movie on a Friday night because people are trying to take you out. You don't know nothing about this social life. You know what I'm talking about? You hang out with other SJWs. But here's my point. Okay. It's one thing to be non-confrontational, you know? It's one thing to just not even want to get into it with people. Everybody's been there, you know? Sometimes that shit ain't worth it. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, I mean, is it worth arguing with an idiot? Well, what does that make me? You know what I mean? I get where you're coming from, but you can't let anybody assume you as a doormat. That's nuts. You know, talk about assuming genders. You know what I mean? If anybody assume I'm a doormat, I don't identify as a doormat. I'm sorry. You've got me for hooked up, sir. For huckled up. I will bediggle your wiggles because you got me for huckled up. Don't let anybody try to, people every day in your life will try to get away with something. People constantly will test the boundaries of what they can get away with. Don't let them push you. Be firm. Stand up. You know what I mean? You're worth it. You're worth it. No matter what, you're worth it. Don't buckle. Number 16. A lot of those people I dislike/envy for being richer, smarter, better than me actually deserve those things more than me. I'm not some underdog protagonist who works harder but gets less. I'm behind because of my inability to work as hard. Not in every scenario, but okay, it's a healthy way to look at things. That dude I'm envious of for being more athletic and muscular than me, yeah, he works out harder and longer than I do. That guy who's got better grades than me in school, yeah, he stuttered longer and more enthusiastically than I did. Not necessarily the truth. None of this is necessarily the truth, but it's a healthy way to look at it. So yeah, dude. Yeah, that girl with the perfect skin, she controls her diet and calories and uses loads of stuff to clean her face that I don't understand. Are you fucking retarded? Do you think that genetics don't weigh into people's appearances at all? Are you kidding? I know some women who have things that were passed on to them from their father that are just destroying their face, and then when they reach their period, it gets really bad. And there's nothing that they can do about it. It has nothing to do with their diet. This shit follows them from childhood because of genetics, nigga. But hey, this is a healthy way to look at things, so just keep motivating yourself, you fucking boy. You fucking little kid. Fucking wake the fuck up. Alright? This list is gonna make me crazy. Number 15. that my husband at age 31 is diagnosed with a rare type of dementia. That sucks. This is real. This is a real one. Primary progressive aphasia. For his age, and we have no idea how fast it will progress or what our lives will look like in 10 years. Currently, he's having trouble comprehending even the most direct email or conversation and can hardly speak and has lost his job. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. Somebody else said the same thing. I don't know where to begin with that. Whoa, that sucks. And she has a hard time accepting it too. Fuck me. Number 14, sometimes you are the bad guy. Accept that shit, homie. Accept that shit. Sometimes you're the bad guy. Somebody responds, no matter how hard you try, no matter how nice you are, you will end up being the villain in someone else's story. A response to that reads, the year after my ex-fiance broke off our engagement, I was looking online to see what had become of her. I stumbled across a comment thread she had written shortly after our breakup. For years I'd blamed her for breaking it off, but it was clear that she was devastated by the breakup and viewed me as driving the behavior that forced her to break it up. It broke my heart to read about her so stricken with grief. She had been the bad guy in my story for breaking it off. I had been the bad guy in her story by driving her to do it. We're probably both right, but maybe she's more right. Boy oh boy. Number 13, that I'm not as smart as I think I am. In sixth form, high school in the UK, I was pretty much in the top 2 or 3 of the year, never had to study, actually enjoyed exams because I found them so easy. Never had to study. But, didn't this last guy say that, the guy that got better grades than him in school studied longer and more enthusiastically than he did? Are you telling me that it's somehow possible for some people to just naturally be inclined when it comes to certain subjects that they don't have to study as much as other people and somehow could do better on some sort of test or in the curriculum? That's not possible, based on this blanket statement that I got from this faggot in number 16. Let me smack the laptop more. I'm not really smacking the laptop. I love technology. I'd never heard it. Okay. I was smacking a table. You see what I'm saying? Kyl's videos do not condone the abuse of technology. Just because you consider the object inanimate doesn't mean that it doesn't have feelings. Okay? It has memory, does it not? Okay? Shut up, Kyle. Shut up. Okay. I don't know what I should do. Then I started medical school with 200 versions of me. Good. Where I'm not even average for the class. I'm somewhere around the bottom third. I'm in the 5th year now, so I've accepted it, but I had a real crisis in first year when I realized I couldn't slack anymore and would have to start earning my achievement instead of having them handed to me. Somebody wrote something and it got deleted. You know that shit was good. Somebody was probably like, you baby back bitch. I hope you fail, nigga, cause you ain't shit and you got what you deserve, yo punk ass talking about it's easy for these other peoples to wipe they balls all over your face, nigga. Cause you sucking all over medical school. Just wait until you a doctor malpracticing up and down the courts and shit. Number 12, that you cannot help someone who refuses to help themselves. And this is something that I deal with a lot. A lot of girls come to me and they say, Kyle, somebody killed themselves and it was my fault. It's my fault that they killed themselves. Like, okay. So now I always ask, if you were to kill yourself right now, would it be other people's fault that they weren't there to stop you or something? Are the people that would be there to stop you, could they live their entire life in close proximity to you, offering their supervision? Is killing yourself not a choice that a person makes, or is it something that they're driven to do by other people? Yes, people have influences in their lives, but nobody's holding a gun to somebody's head going, kill yourself, motherfucker. Isn't it ironic that I'm holding a gun to your head and threatening to take your life, but I'm telling you to take your own life? Kyle, don't get crazy with this. My point is simple, alright? They killed themselves because they made the choice to do so. You got nothing to do with it, bitch. You know what I mean? It's not like you guys were married and you have kids, you've been together 5 years, and then they come home and they find you in bed fucking another man, you know what I mean? And then he shoots himself in the brain. That's your fault, bitch. You know what I mean? That's your fault. There's no ifs, ands, or buts there. There's no jumping through hoops to do some mental gymnastics. Like, that is your fault. You drove that person to kill themselves in that moment. That they probably suffered like momentary insanity going through what they went through. But if you're just a friend and y'all are both dumbass teenagers and I'm just going so much and life is too hard, you know what I mean? I'm not belittling what some people have been through. Some people have really gotten a short stick in life, getting fucked by older people and, you know, telling their parents and the parents don't believe them, telling authorities and the authorities don't believe them, telling people and having the people tell them that there's nothing that they can do, you know what I mean? When you really feel like you're alone sometimes. Like, now that we're adults and we know that we're alone and we know that the authority can't really help us and the only way we're ever going to get help is if we have the right amount of money, we kind of live with it. You know what I mean? Because we're adults. But when you're young, man, those are some hard truths that you ain't ready for. Do you get what I'm saying? So look, people need to help themselves, though. Just like the other one with the alcoholic people need to decide that they want to go all in and that they want to do something for themselves because other people can't make that decision for them. Most people, you know, let's think of it in a way where it's like you can receive help to be carried to a door, but nobody else can push you or make you walk through it. Do you get what I'm saying? If you guys were watching my Battlefield Let's Play, you'll understand the horse's ass analogy. You can lead a man to a horse's ass, but you can't make him drink. Okay? Let's continue here, guys. Number 11, that it's everyone else that's lame. I'm just not very fun to hang with. That it isn't everyone else that's lame. I'm just not very fun to hang with. Well, you just need to find people that are into what you're into, dude. You know? You can't just expect to associate with everybody and all of the basic ass corny shit that they're into. Yeah, bro, did you see that movie that came out the other day? Who directed it? I don't fucking know, brah. Shit was scary as fuck. Did you see that part when that ghost jumped out? He was all like, oh. And I was like, chill, bruh. And I was there with Stacy. And she was all like tweeting about it and shit. All the people on her Instagram were like, yeah, I heard that movie scary as fuck. Totally. Can't wait to see a sequel if there's a sequel to that movie. Love sequels. Can't wait to see Transformers 8. Fuck yeah. Let's see what Shia LaBeouf is up to. Fucking killing me. You know, I want to share space with the assholes in this. Like, should I kill myself? Or should I hope they kill themselves? You know what I mean? We can't both be on this earth together. Fucking love Hannibal. Fucking love Hannibal. Look, number 10. That despite doing everything right, my life is average, boring, and monotonous, as adults made their life sound when I was a kid. Well, it's better to be boring than like homeless, right? At least you're, well, you know, you got your shit together. I don't know. What is right? What shit's supposed to be popping? You're supposed to have a mansion and enough disposable income to buy like a, you know, golf trips and getaways to your lake house or buy some cars. I don't know. What is a life that's not boring? I don't know what you people want. I don't know what satisfaction is to the layman. Number 9, that trying to make everyone happy is impossible. You're damn right. You can please most of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. You don't have to light yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Remember that. Number 8. Oh boy. My ex-wife never loved me. I think she was with me for the convenience. When she graduated college, she dipped. I had a good job, and I gladly paid for her college, and when she graduated, it was supposed to be my turn to go back, and she would pay for mine. Good news, though. Here I am about a year and a half later with a way better job, going to school for 2 degrees, which my employer is more than happy to pay for. That's really great for you. I'm closing on my house in 2 weeks. And I still have my cats. You rock, man. Good for you. better than what any of us have going on. I don't have cats or a house that I'm closing on, or a job, or degrees. God, I'm kidding. Number 17. 7? There's no 10 there. I said 7 like it was a long friend that I haven't seen in a long time. 7? 7 of 9? Then I'm not necessarily a good person by nature. If I want to be a good person, I have to work at it consciously and can't always go with my first instinct. That's the truth with a lot of you assholes. You want to know the crazy thing? A lot of you people are bad people, but what brings out like the ability to pretend to be good people is how attractive the person that you're into is and how hooked you have them. So to just set it up in a scenario or an analogy that makes sense here, say you're a bad person by nature and you find a new person and you want to hook them because they're just, for the moment, they are all that you're about and you want them in your life. You can pretend to be a good person and hook them. They're all about you, you know? As soon as they're all about you and you're sure you can confirm that, fuck it, you go straight back to the bad person because you already got them, you know what I mean? They're hooked, right? So you just go back to the douchebag that you were before, right? You know what I mean? And yeah. That's the story of the world. And that's not like probably like 4 out of 10 people. That's probably like 7, 8 out of 10 people that are just bad people by nature, don't give a shit, only care about themselves, use people as stepping stones, doormats, test the boundaries with everybody because they might as well get away with what they can get away with most people because they know that most people are non-confrontational. And what you gonna do? Say something about it when you would rather not have the argument, when you would rather not waste the time and waste your life and waste the stress and the brain cells on this asshole and whatever they're going through, you know what I mean? Who's the idiot? The person arguing with the idiot or the idiot? Both of you? Who's the bigger idiot? You know what I mean? Life is weird. Life is crazy. This is why half of us avoid the people. Avoid the people. Stay indoors, as David Mitchell would say. Yeah, half of y'all don't know who the hell David Mitchell is. Why am I doing this? Number 6. Number 6. What was the responses to that? A response reads, what is better, to be born good or to overcome your evil nature through great effort? Well... that's how it goes. Skyrim. Number 6. The love of my life and best friend passed away. Oh boy. It's been months and I still wake up ready and excited to talk to her. What a disappointing way to start every day. That is. Jesus Christ. Somebody else said, I had a friend who was broke and had a girlfriend who died of cancer only 4 days after he bought a ring and planned to propose to her. He shot himself 2 days later. I miss you. Whoa, holy shit. Number 5, man. You can't make someone love you. It's the truth. You can't make someone love you. Even though it's a choice, it is their choice. You know what you can do? You can get a bunch of money and make someone pretend to love you. You can emulate something that you know that they're into and make them, you know, I want to say interested in you for a short amount of time. But 5 is a truth that you really need to accept. You can't make anybody love you. And to go a bit further, and this is going to sound super, super sad. I'm sorry about this list, guys. I love you. What a list before my birthday, too. But to go further than you can't make someone love you, you can't make someone who does love you and even is in love with you stay in love with you. So let's read the responses. And someone who has loved you may stop one day and find somebody else. I just said this, nigga. I hate that Reddit is really just a fucking... Can you imagine if we could connect ourselves to the people of Reddit like some kind of Borg collective and immediately come up with the funniest comment for any situation? Funny comment. Oh boy. Okay, forgive me. Number four. I've been doing this for too long. I had food ready. Number 4. Parents get old. Eventually, you need to become the responsible person and take care of them. The realization that this is happening and is irreversible is gut-wrenching. Somebody said, it is starting to hit me hard. Damn, this is a boom shalaka comment. Grandparents raised me when I was a kid because my parents were busy. I just started college and now I come on weekends every week because it is only a 20-minute drive. The fact that they are becoming more feeble is breaking me, and I end up crying whenever I think about it. I am doing the most I can, wearing my jacket without complaining because they worry I get cold. Give them hugs and kisses every time I see them and trying my best to love them. The fact that I see them only every week, other than every day, makes it so much more obvious. If only love was enough. It is hard to handle, and I end up breaking down and crying when driving back to school every week. I wish I spoke my second language a little better because they gave me the life I have by moving over and escaping the Vietnam War. Oh shit. Dude, this is a dark fucking hole we're going down, son. You know, y'all can read all your creepypastas and stupid ass videos about, and then the man came back to life and he was chasing them down the hallway, and I'm like, look, but this is stupid, it's fucking scary, this real life shit. Number 30, god, okay, Kyle, chill. Number 3, hardest truth you had to accept, that your best is sometimes just not good enough. Hey, I play a lot of video games, you understand me? If you've ever watched a Kyle stream, baby, you can watch Kyle walk out of that match with 30 kills, 40 kills, 50 kills. But you know what it ain't gonna do? It ain't gonna win a match, baby. Not when all of my sloppy ass fuckboy teammates are busy not pushing the objective. Get fucking good. But sometimes your best just isn't good enough. And the response reads, yeah, it sounds great when people say things like, you can do anything you set your mind to. Not always true. We have our limitations, and while working hard and taking pride in what you accomplish is important, you also have to be realistic about your goals. Certain things take time, effort, sacrifice that you might think when you were a kid, that you might think, take more time, effort, and sacrifice than you may think when you're a kid, and the payoff may not be what you thought. Ain't that the truth? Number 2, you can do everything right and still end up losing. Hey, what are these, just like phrases for my playtime in Overwatch? Somebody else says it is possible to commit mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Jean-Luc Picard. Things are only impossible until they're not. There is a way out of every box, a solution to every puzzle. It is just a matter of finding it. Being first at any cost is not always the point. All Jean-Luc. Boy. Let's watch some Star Trek Next Generation, baby. It's the best show. Yeah, niggas don't know nothing about. I'm okay, that's enough. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's like a number 1 comment in my opinion. Ooh, Patrick. Ooh, Captain Jean-Luc. Captain Picard. The USS Enterprise. Number 1, relationships fade. Aw, how cute this is the top one. Your best friend in the whole world right now might not even talk to you in a couple of years. People change. I said it before, Judes. Anyway, somebody responds, my ex was my best friend in the whole world, but then left me for another guy. I finally had to stop talking to her, and I can't believe I'm starting to not think of her for days at a time now. I never thought that would be possible. Somebody else says, I feel your pain. 1 year down the line, and still every day it happens. I didn't get to have an honest conversation and feel like after 10 years, that's all I was owed. I can't imagine going from being someone's best friend to a complete lack of care and respect. I sometimes wonder if people change, or if they were the same person all along and I just refuse to see it. Well, sometimes, man, people are just bored and they doing what they doing until the next thing comes along, man. Some people are fucking assholes. Some people are fucking assholes, and no matter how long you spend together, that shit doesn't mean anything to them once the right thing comes along. So, go them. Somebody else says, while I agree with what others have said, I do think a lot of people have trouble being honest with themselves and others about changing feelings. One day someone might wake up next to their lover and feel that there is really nothing there anymore. So they just get up and walk away. Where are you going with this? But they choose not to say anything since they think it might hurt them. Just put it off for another day. But one day turns into a week, 1 week turns into a month into a year. This is why it's important to communicate. I don't know where it's going with this. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm an adult. You guys know me. Probably not in the way that I act, but in the way that I think. Okay? And what that means is, I've made this plenty apparent, is in most relationships, because this is a prerequisite for me as well, there needs to be a considerable degree, these are the two things that I deem necessary in a relationship, is communication and mutuality, okay? Now, oftentimes, maybe it's difficult to gauge whether or not how someone feels for you and you feel for them is, if it's mutual. Do you know what I mean? This is where the communication comes in. Maybe most relationships can exist with one or the other. You know what I mean? As long as they feel this way for one another, then maybe they can get away with not communicating. As long as they can genuinely communicate, maybe they can get away with not feeling the same way. But you can't not have either. You know what I mean? Ideally, you want to have both. And when you're not communicating, dude, this is where the problems come in. If you don't want to do this, make it known. If you ain't feeling a certain way, make it known. You know what I mean? Just make this shit apparent to this other person, because why are you fucking up their life? If it's deliberate and intentional, cool. But there's so many scenarios in relationships where people are accidentally ruining this other person. How can you accidentally do that? Wouldn't you want to know in their position? Is it all about you? To the point where it's like, it doesn't matter how they would feel because this is about you? Or would you want the other person to tell you if you felt the same way? It's nuts. I'm sorry for not getting through this. It's just, I hope to God nobody listening to this is in the midst of something where shit needs to be said. Do you know what I mean? Shit needs to be said, and you're not saying it for whatever reason. And you're convincing yourself that this reason that you're not saying it is very important, and you have to wait and blah blah blah. Do you feel for your safety? You know what I mean? I just don't get it, man. Let me know in the comment section if something's going on in your life, because we really need to get to the bottom of some shit, and maybe I need to do an advice stream or something, because why do I have this terrible feeling that somebody is in the middle of something where it's only going to get worse the more time you allow to go by, but you're still letting it happen. And years snowball into huge chunks of time, and over those lost years, people become bitter because they can't even remember why they felt that way in the first place. Something wrong with y'all niggas. All they know is what they do now. And they become spiteful, angry at their lovers for not having the intuition to see what was happening. Because it's their fault. Beautiful. It's their fault you didn't say nothing when it was fucking time to say something. Angry at themselves for not being honest. And angry people make bad decisions. They sleep with other people to get back at their lover because they feel like he or she wouldn't understand any other way. But also to drown out their nigga. Excuse you? Who gilded this shit? Who gilded this shit as if it's like some kind of excuse? Alright? Fucking talk to people. You have a mouth. And if you can wrap that fucking mouth around some other nigga's dick, or get up in some bitch's pussy and lick that fucking shit, put your mouth on another person's mouth, you got a mouth to speak to the motherfucker that you're with, that you're destroying through not communicating. Let that be the end of this list. I knew that this shit was gonna fucking tear me apart. Fuck these people. These people are what makes it so that so many people are ruined, okay? You're setting humanity back because people who could be happy and lead productive lives and further things that they're interested in, that they're passionate about, are being destroyed and confined to a room and confined to a life of hiding because they're scared of meeting another person with the capacity for cruelty that's even a teaspoon of the ocean that some of these people are. The endless well of cruelty that some of these people not only deliberately dispense, right? But can pull from in an accidental manner. Oh, I'm mad for so long that I've forgotten what I'm even mad about, and I can't believe that you can't notice. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. And with that, this list is over. Did you enjoy this list? This was a heavy list, wasn't it? I don't know. Oh boy. You know, you look for a list that you think's worth picking. And you see this and you go, that's the one. Reddit, what's the hardest truth you ever had to accept? And you get to the top and people are on the bullshit? People are on that bullshit trying to justify a lack of communication on their part that manifests into outrageous and inhumane fucking, like, come on. You're a monster. You're not a person. You're a monster. You're a monster and you're doing this to other people. You know, I love you to death, and I wish more than anything that you never have to experience this kind of madness at the hands of some other idiot. Take it easy.